Thameside Family History Group is here today supporting the Heritage Open Day at Tilbury Fort, well, indeed all around Tilbury, but particularly at Tilbury Fort. We've been running workshops for people who want to learn how to trace their family tree, and we've also got someone here with the censuses who can look up your family in the census if you happen to come from Essex. But it's all part of the Heritage Open Day, which is taking place all over the country, of course.
Because it's about history today, isn't it, and about sort of looking back at the past, and it's very sort of related of what you're doing. Have you been quite busy, like a lot of people interested?
We've had people coming in and looking and so on. It is about history, but it's about access to history, and sometimes history gets a bit hidden. So a place like Tilbury Fort is a lovely little jewel in Thurrock's crown, and very few people come here. You could come here on a Tuesday, say, and it would be very, very empty, and it's a shame that people in Thurrock don't come to the fort more often.
Because today it's free as well, so people can just come in, can't they? And we're hoping there's going to be more people, but it's like a gem, isn't it, in Thurrock until...
Well, that's right, it is free today, not just here, all over the country properties are free today. Some of them that you don't get to see normally, that are only open on the Heritage Open Day. But of course, because there's so much going on this weekend, everything has to compete with everything else. So you don't necessarily get as many people as perhaps you'd like because they're off doing something else.
It's a very interesting hobby that you've got going here. It must be quite interesting to find out all the past history of people.
It's very interesting. It's very addictive, and you sometimes have to have. You have to be careful, you have to be prepared to put up with whatever comes. Some people have got skeletons in their cupboards, and you might perhaps uncover the skeleton and you want to cover it up very quickly and go on to something else. But yes, it's very addictive. I've been doing it for years now, and you always find something new and something exciting, something interesting.
And would you encourage more people to do this? Is it an easy task to do?
It can be easy, and it's got easier, but it's always difficult at some point. It's almost inevitable that you will suddenly reach a brick wall, and it will take a long while to overcome that. But of course, a lot of people have become interested in it because of TV programmes like Who Do You Think You Are? And that can be a bit misleading. You see this celebrity who is whisked around from place to place, archivists come out with holding documents and showing them exactly the right thing. It's not actually like that in practice. You have to go and work out which document you want, and then you have to find it yourself. But things like that does encourage more people to be interested.
Certainly. And is it very popular now? What would you say to people who want to get involved and want to do it? How would you tell them to go about it?
It's an extremely popular hobby. It's one that has grown really dramatically over the years. And basically you just start from first principles. Where was your father born? What was his parents' name? Where were they born? What were their brothers and sisters? What did they do? How about your grandparents, your great-grandparents? And you just go back one step at a time, and if you're lucky, you could end up going back 400 or 500 years. And if you're unlucky, you might get stuck in the middle of the 19th century. But yes, it's a nice little hobby. It's much easier now, and one of the things we're showing on our display here is that there are lots of internet sources that, when I started doing it, weren't available. It's now possible to use the internet a lot. You have to be a bit careful with the internet because sometimes what we find on the internet isn't exactly 100% true, but it is a lot easier now than it used to be. And if you've got a good internet connection, you can do quite a lot of work yourself at home.
It must be like a treasure trove as well. Like, you must get quite excited when you start discovering stuff.
You can get very excited, and things can happen quite out of the blue. I was researching my uncle recently and suddenly discovered that he is mentioned in a letter that has been published, and where somebody said, oh, he's a nice person to work for. And to find a little piece of a gem like that really sort of bucks you up for the rest of the day.
Because I'm called Chipperfield, so do you think that there's some history with the circus? Do you reckon?
It's always possible. I mean, the Chipperfields are a very famous circus family, so it could easily be. But you have to be a bit careful because there may well be Chipperfields who have absolutely nothing to do with the circus. So the thing you don't want to do is to assume that you come from the circus background, start researching them, spend years, and then discover after 5 or 6 years research that actually you're not connected with them at all. So take it a step at a time, start with your parents, go back, father's parents and so on. And then if you find the circus connection, great, because you've then got a real treasure trove.